Fellas, how in the hell are we doing here today? Marvel Rivals has finally been released to the public, and I, for one, could not be happier. I absolutely love everything about this game. For those of you who don't know, last time they had a beta test, I released a review for the game because the main bones and everything were pretty much there. I didn't really think they'd add a whole lot besides some skins and balance some heroes, but they've actually added a ton of stuff since our last video, so much to the point that I felt like we needed an updated review, so here we are. This video probably isn't going to be as formal as our typical reviews since I've already told you about the game. This video is pretty much just going to be me showcasing all the cool new stuff they've added since the last time. Sorry if I'm just ping-ponging around a lot in this video, but with that being said, let's just jump straight into things, shall we? For starters, you can't talk about a multiplayer hero shooter without talking about the heroes themselves. Last time we talked about Marvel Rivals, they had a character roster of 23 heroes, but they've added a whole 10 extra playable heroes since then. The new characters are Hawkeye, Black Widow, Captain America, Winter Soldier, Cloak and Dagger, Psylocke, Iron Fist, Moon Knight, Squirrel Girl, and Wolverine. It's honestly crazy how fast they're able to crank these characters out, and they're not stopping there. They've also been working on numerous others like Reed Richards, Ultron, the Human Torch, but that'll probably get announced closer to Season 1. This honestly shouldn't be a surprise considering they already have an endless hero roster supplied by Marvel. They just have to figure out how to make the specific powers work in-game. In terms of how the game plays, all I can really say is that the matches can be insanely hectic. I honestly don't even really know how to put it into words, but it feels like everybody is so overpowered that they just kind of even themselves out. There's nobody I can really point to and say, oh, that is just a terrible pick. Because if you know how to play them, you can make somebody viable. A lot of heroes almost feel situational too, like in certain situations they might not be the best, but in other matches or on certain maps they might be really great. If they just started nerfing random hero stuff now, it would just start to prop up other stuff that might not have been as good. So I don't really know what the easy fix is. I personally think I would just rather everybody be cracked out of their mind, because I will say, for every OP ability out there, there's a character or multiple with a direct counter to that. You just have to figure out what that is. As an example, Scarlet Witch players see me and cower in fear, alright? Luna's snowball renders her ult useless if you can hit your shots. Actually, real quick, I know I just said everybody's OP, but actually, as a support player, Cloak and Dagger is borderline bad. There's other heroes I can comfortably solo heal the team with, but Cloak and Dagger needs a second support player. Her main abilities are pretty solid. My only real problems with the character are that they're way too slow and the ult is terrible. If we could speed Dagger up and rework the ult, that'd be great. The ultimate ability as it is right now doesn't do a whole lot of damage, doesn't heal a whole lot, lasts like a whole 3 seconds, and it's hard to even see on the ground. I'm over here telling my team, hey, run into the black smoke on the ground for heals. Like, come on now. Anytime I throw it down, people are always just like, oh, I didn't even know it was there. Every other strategist has an ult that feels like it can completely save a fight besides Cloak and Dagger. I'd honestly just throw that whole ability out and start over. Besides just the characters themselves, they've also added a ton of cool new cosmetic items as well. For this initial release, every character has a skin or two which is available for purchase from the in-game shop, and for the most part, I think they all look really cool. But I will say the shop itself still feels pretty bare bones. Like, let's just be honest here. NetEase wants money. I want to look cool in-game. So maybe let's just take a pause on the extra characters and give the shop some love, okay? I really don't think that bad boy is going to get an update until Season 1. The flashy skins aren't the only talking point for cosmetics though. NetEase also added a proficiency tab for each hero where you can level them up and unlock sprays, better KO prompts, and even a mastery picture that stands out from everyone to show you really know what you're doing with somebody. This feature right here is amazing. I love everything about this. It gives you something to work towards, it's rewarding, and they look sick. Everybody wants to be considered a lord with their main character, and that's instantly what I did with Luna Snow. It took me around 20 or so hours to get there, and it's sounding like that's pretty typical. Our good friend B Wood got his Spider-Man to Lord because he's an absolute demon, and it took him about 20 hours too. I will say though, I think this is something that they can build on even more. I don't know if they want to add more levels or what, but they could also add mastery borders around your profile, mastery skins for characters. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And I also found myself wanting to specifically grind that out a lot more than doing the specific random hero challenges. Before we wrap up character and cosmetic stuff, I just want to touch on the battle pass real quick because, of course, they have a battle pass. Every online multiplayer nowadays does. Now for Season 0, this is only going to be lasting about a month, which is only a third of the typical season length. so this battle pass is a lot smaller than what we'll typically be seeing in the future. NetEase also changed how the progression works in their battle pass, and it's extremely similar to the system that Fallout 76 uses. With this battle pass, you unlock whole pages of items where you can pick out what you specifically want to unlock first. That's pretty cool and all so far, but what's really great about Rivals battle pass system is that they'll never go away. The game could be in Season 10, and you could still go back and work on your Season 7 Battle Pass if you miss some stuff, and I think that's really great. Now, besides the shop skins, there's no way you can ever miss out on something cool. If you weren't around to get it when the season first dropped, you can always come back and get it another time. In terms of its actual content, I mean, it's okay. There's a couple pretty cool skins in there, but nothing else that's really like, ooh, I need that, besides the credits you get from each page. But listen fellas, it's Season 0. Give them some time to cook, I'm sure they'll come out with some great stuff. Okay, switching gears here fellas. We're going to talk about probably one of Rival's most underrated features of the whole game, the practice range. This right here, this magical place, is damn near flawless, and without a doubt one of the best practice ranges I've ever seen in an online multiplayer shooter. This was also something that was around during the beta, but it got a huge facelift from then to now. For starters, the map has been expanded, allowing you to more freely traverse around and get comfortable with a character's movement. They also kept their typical practice range training sims like a random hero spawn and a random hero or enemy robots to hit. Now some of you might be looking at all this like, wow, yeah, they just gave the practice range a bigger map. What's the big idea? All of this is certainly great, but it isn't what really blew me away. For that, we'll have to head underground. Fellas, now this right here is sick. Who needs aim labs when you have a Marvel Rivals practice range? This gigantic open area is marked with distances, and you can spawn in random heroes to practice your shot on. I'll be honest, I have spent a considerable amount of time in here practicing my shot on Iron Man. It's pretty much become my warm-up every time I hop on. All characters have a main attack where you'll have to aim a little differently for each one, and this is a great place to get used to those patterns. Alright, yeah, firing range, great stuff. Now let's get into the actual game here. Rivals still has the same game modes from the beta, but they've added a ton of new maps for both modes, which definitely help the experience feel fresh on launch. They currently have 8 total maps, with hopefully some plans to add more in future seasons. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of some of the King of the Hill maps. They feel incredibly small and compartmentalized, and as a support player, it feels like I'm constantly running around trying to get a line of sight on my teammates, or getting jumped by one of the 20 different dive characters this game has. Maybe I'm just complaining, but that's how your boy was feeling. The maps really aren't the biggest deal, but something that definitely doesn't sit right with me is the game's competitive system. This game has a fully functioning co-op mode on launch, but there is no crossplay. You have to play in specific queues for PC and console. I honestly hate everything about this. I don't see why they can't just make separate queues and leave it up to the player to decide if they want to play crossplay or not. 2 of our good friends of the channel, B Wood and Steady Packs, do not have PCs. So that's a whole quarter of a ranked team or faction that I can't ever play comp with, and that genuinely sucks. This game wants me to grind ranked play by myself, but anytime I'm on the game, I want to play with my friends. Like what the hell? I've already got like 200 plus games in on quick play and 14 ranked play games in. That's a travesty. Speaking of the factions, that's Marvel Rivals' little clan system by the way, but I can't even have B-Wood and Packs in my faction because they're on console. I mean, come on now. Besides the no crossplay, the comp also has no sort of role queue, so they just want me to jump in here solo and try fighting for my spot with other people who might also be wanting to do the same thing. The crossplay might feel like a fever dream idea. I might just be screaming into the void about that one, which is downright criminal, but the role queues is actually something I think they could get fixed pretty quick, and I hope they implement it. Honestly, I think they could do role queue for quick play too. This game has a big enough population where I don't think it would see too much of a dive splitting up the player base like that. Just let people play what they want to play. Switching over to the bugs and issues, the game has problems on launch, but it's certainly playable, so that's nice. For starters, I just have to say I haven't personally had any sort of issues with crashing, but our friend BMO can't seem to play longer than 3 or 4 matches without his game crashing like clockwork. Another big issue with this game that I never really noticed during the beta is the hitbox registration. I don't know if you guys are seeing these clips right now, but this right here is a problem, okay? I'm aiming like a whole 2 feet off the character model and I'm still hitting shots, alright? We can't be letting this happen. This seems to be something that favors the right side of each character. If you go to the left, you can get a little bit closer, but to the right of every character, their hitbox goes a cool 3 to 5 feet into space. Hopefully this is something that they already know about, because I'm sure it can be fixed pretty quick, but it's definitely an issue. In terms of how the game actually runs, it's honestly still about the same as it was from the beta, which is a little disappointing, but hopefully it's something that they further optimize in the future. Back in the beta, the game would sometimes drop to damn near 20 frames with all the abilities going on, and it still drops a little, but not as bad. I'm also on PC, so I can't really speak for the console experience, but for me, I get about a constant 80 to 90 FPS, and things just feel a bit choppy at times. In conclusion, Your Honor, Marvel Rivals is still, and always will be, a banger. The problems I have with this game right now are all incredibly minuscule, and all things that will certainly be optimized and revamped in the future. Besides the fucking comp crossplay, I swear NetEase, if you don't add that, I will send 3 grizzly bears and 10,000 rats to your corporate building. Add that right now. This game is still in its infancy. Just sitting here looking at the main menu reminds me a lot of Apex Legends when they were first in their Season 0. Everything was pretty bare bones, but the core game was there and it was great. This video is kind of a great time capsule for the game, honestly. It'll be cool to come back and watch this when the game's in like Season 5 and see how everything has changed since then. If I had to wrap this all up into a rating today, 1 to 10, it's still going to be a 10 for me, coach. We've already rated this game with pretty high regard, and I don't think my opinions changed on that at all. I love this game, and they've got me hooked. 2025 is going to be pretty big. I'm going to be playing a lot of different stuff, but home base will always be Rivals. And with that being said, I think that's going to about do it here for our review today, folks. If you've also been playing Marvel Rivals, comment down below and let me know what you think of the game. I would love to hear it. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Your boy would really appreciate it, and it's free 99, you feel me? Hook a brother up. Also, I will be posting a Luna Snow / overall strategist guide tomorrow, so if that's something you'd be interested in, be on the lookout for that. Alrighty y'all, take it easy, have yourselves a good one. This has been Lunar, and welcome to Bound.